Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's time for coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Pete Ingram-Cauchi. I'd like to flash back very quickly, Pete, to when you were in college. You also went to the University of Washington, just like Alexa, and you got your Bachelor's of Business Administration. And was it with a focus on international business?
Yeah, so I focus on international business and finance.
Okay. Did you know what you were going to do with that degree when you graduated?
Okay, so if you think for 1 second that I would have thought that I would be running the world's largest summer tech camp for kids 20 years ago, it's crazy to think of. I don't even think tech camps didn't even exist when I was going to college. That wasn't even a thing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I know that so many college age students or even high school students, they have those fears because I had those exact same fears. What am I going to do? What I did is I did exactly what I should do. You know what? For international business, I love travel. Actually, after college, I went straight back to Spain where I had studied the previous year, and I just taught English. And I didn't get caught up in the massive pressure of coming straight out of college and getting that perfect job. I just kind of pursued my passions, and I wanted to go back to Spain, more or less perfect my Spanish. And then I knew I would come back and I would work for a big company and get some experience. And that's what I did. I worked for a big company here in Silicon Valley for a couple of years called AC Nielsen before we launched ID Tech. But it's just a great lesson. It all works out okay. It really does. And just to be clear, I had no idea, absolutely no idea what I wanted to do, even in college.
Well, me neither. and what I've landed on as a way to think about a college major is that rather than thinking of it as the tiny house that you're going to be forced to live in for the rest of your professional life, think of it as the foundation of a professional skyscraper that you're going to be building over the course of your professional life with each new job and each new career, adding another floor in that skyscraper.
What a great analogy. Well done. Well done.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now let us pivot into one of the questions that I try to ask all T4C guests, Pete, and that is to share a time in their professional lives when they really struggled. And many of us have experienced failures. In my case, I was fired twice in my 40s. And it happens at various points in our careers. And as a result, people like me who have failed have learned the importance of building grit and resilience. So could you share a story from your wonderful 25-year career when you struggled or failed, and more importantly, Pete, how you persevered and perhaps a lesson that you learned in the process?
Yeah, so this gets pretty personal for me. So it's year 2 of ID Tech. We had launched ID Tech, but again, we really didn't have any money, certainly no investment capital. I was still living with my parents, and I actually had met somebody, and she's from Argentina. Her name's Natalia, and now she's obviously my wife. But I still remember the conversation, which was with her. I said, it's so hard. I have no money. I wake up every day. I mean, I'm answering customer service calls at 2 a.m, driving brochures around from school to school, literally in the back of my car to get the word out. And through exhaustion, just pure exhaustion, I told her I was going to quit. I'm not going to do this anymore. And My wife she believed in the concept. And I think that ultimately I just needed that little bit of extra nudge, if you will. And she said, just give it one more year. Give it one more year and see what happens. So the translation is just give that little bit of extra effort. Give that blossom just a little bit more time, and maybe it can turn into something. And looking back, it was probably the most pivotal conversation that I've had in the past 20 years, because in that moment of vulnerability and that moment of unease, you start losing belief. I had that network. I had that person who said, give it one more shot. And I think this is so applicable to almost anything in life. Roll up your sleeves, try just a little bit harder and see what happens. After she said that, the business started picking up little by little. It wasn't quick. It wasn't meteoric. It was just a slow build. But here we are, over 20 years later. And I'm so thankful that she took the time and that she actually cared enough and believed enough. So this is kind of a neat story.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.